let's talk about Dylan Brooks right now because he was involved in a trade this past offseason for Kevin Durant, in which the Rockets got Kevin Durant, the second seed, added one of the best players to ever play this game, one of the most efficient scorers in league history, and it was supposed to be the cherry on top, a player that's supposed to maybe lead them on a deeper playoff run because they got eliminated in the first round, and then they lost Dylan Brooks in the trade, and the Suns, it just felt like, okay, you're trying to rebuild this thing completely, but the Suns actually came out pretty good, feeling good about themselves because now, depending on the day that you see the standings, the Suns could be in front of Houston. Yeah. Houston could be in front of the Suns.
Let's check right now.
Right now, the Rockets are in front of the Suns.
Houston is playing a game right now, so we'll see.
So, but the Suns, they have been so competitive that they look like they're gonna be a team that's at least making the play-in. They have a shot to be a top 6 seed in the Western Conference, which is something that just nobody thought of entering the season. Do you feel like this was a win-win trade for them? This was one of the rare win-win trades that we have in the NBA.
Unfortunately, Houston won't know until the playoffs. And that's just the God honest truth. This is a team.
This is only a win if they win come playoffs.
I think you brought in Kevin Durant to win playoff series. I don't think you brought him in to be the 6th seed in the regular season. You can do that with your young core. Could have did that with Jalen Green. You proved that. Sure. I think you brought Kevin Durant in to win playoff series. And I'm not just talking about one, I'm talking about multiple playoff series for as long as he can play. So I think you make that move. I think you make that move 10 times out of 10 if you're Houston. You make that move 10 times out of 10. I would never say that was the wrong move. But the trade doesn't become a win until you win some playoff series. So for them, to TBD. I think for Phoenix, you could say win. Like,
automatically.
Yeah, like expectations were different for them. They were supposed to be a bottom feeder. They're now, a top 17 currently in the standings. Now if they stay in the play-in and they lose in the play-in, obviously we look back and we be like, all right, well, shit, this kind of goes back to a L. But as of right now, definitely a W. They're playing well. Jordan Knotts has this team hooping. Dylan Brooks has been awesome. But it's just, I feel like can't be a win-win because there's different expectations for both teams, and both teams both teams wanted different things out the trade. Kevin Durant going to Houston. Houston wanted to win a playoff series. Phoenix honestly wanted to retool, and they retooled it in a good way.
Yeah, I mean, it's a win for Phoenix already. I think what you're saying is right. For Houston, it's probably a win just because it's hard to look back on it and say that you wouldn't make the deal regardless of what happens in the playoffs. Like if they matched up against, they probably won't fall to the 7 or 8 seed, but if they went up against one of the top, fair. If they went up against one of the top 2 seeds and you lose in the first round, that hurts. Regardless, though, it's a win for Phoenix just because they got out of a gutter of where they were in, right? Just it wasn't Kevin Durant's fault, but the whole Suns' big 3 was kind of a fiasco, especially once you brought Bradley Beal in with the contract he was getting and all of the jokes that were made about him and just the weird fit and just everything that happened in Phoenix with Booker, KD, and Bradley Beal. You had to find a way to get past that era, quote unquote, and just find a new identity. And Dylan Brooks has been a huge impact for that, right? Dylan Brooks, we knew what he brought defensively as a leader, as a guy that's going to, talk on the court and get you rowdy and everything. But offensively, I don't think anyone was expecting him to average 20 and be this kind of creator that he has been, even in games where Devin Booker's out. And Jalen Green, unfortunately, just been banged up. But in the 1 or 2 games he played, he was looking pretty decent for them too. But more than anything for Phoenix, it's just showing that you could be a competent organization again, right? You have this new owner come in, he makes the Kevin Durant trade, and you try to fast track your way into being a competitor and being a championship contender, and it's just really difficult to do that in the NBA, right? Like for the most part, it's going to be hard to buy your way to a championship, whether that's through free agency or trades, especially with the second apron now. You have to have role players and be able to draft well and make smart extensions, and just getting Kevin Durant and Beal and adding talent wasn't going to do anything. So for Phoenix, it's a win because we look at them, I think, organizationally different than we did a year or 2 ago. But for Houston, it definitely is still a wait and see, because it would be one thing if they were like fantastic this year and they're right up there with OKC and with Denver
last year.
They exactly right. Yeah. Or were they a 2 seed?
They were second seed.
Seed last year. Yeah. Sure. So it would be one thing if so far through the 3-4 months of the regular season they're looking like one of the top dogs in the West. Man, maybe they can go to a 6 or 7 game series with one of these top 2 teams. They just haven't currently looked like that, and maybe that's unfair expectations, but I think that's what we were expecting when you get Kevin Durant. It's to be up there with the best of the best in the West, maybe you're not the championship contender, but you're just like a slight tier below them that if they have an injury, some bad shooting, maybe it can go your way. As it currently stands, I don't think I really view Houston as that. It feels like OKC and Denver maybe 2 tiers above them. That's just more credit to what they've been doing, I think, individually as those 2 teams. But yeah, it's unfortunate, but I think Riv is right. Once the playoffs come around, what's Kevin Durant giving you? I think we know what the bar is, but can you win at least a playoff series? If you go in and you win a playoff series, I think you're feeling really good about the KD trade.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how you look at it from the Rockets' perspective and don't think it's a win. They were a middle of the pack offense last year. They're 3rd in the NBA right now. Defense, they were one of the best defense in the league. That fell off a bit, but it's not like it fell off and now they're a bottom 10 defense. They're 9th in the league. What Kevin Durant means to that offense on top of the guidance and the leadership, it's obvious to me at least what it's transitioned to a men. The way that he's been more aggressive on the offensive side of recent. And Riv, remember when KD called him out?
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, I need our guys to be more aggressive. We need somebody that can go ahead and go get it. Clearly, he was talking to Amen because since then, Amen has not looked back.
He needs to be. He's like bottom 10 in the league and, spacing and shit.
When you know your deficiency,
got to get to it.
And you have the athleticism and the ability to get downhill the way that Amen does, his free throw shooting has been really good of late as well, too, which is a huge part, too, of why he's been successful. But it already is a win. Kevin Durant has already paid dividends. But yes, ultimate picture is to win a championship. You traded for Kevin Durant. You ultimately, you guys are right. You didn't trade for him to lose in the first round again. No, it's to win playoffs. But what it already has done to one of your future pillars of your organization, that's already paying off tenfold, and it's immediate. For the Suns, it's an obvious statement. Dillon Brooks has been excellent this year, far exceeded anyone's expectations of him. And we've seen Jalen Green play 1 game.
It's unfortunate, actually.
It is sad because that 1 game was awesome. He played pretty good.
He got 35.
The Suns are a lot better than we all anticipated, which is why you have to look at them as a win. But again, I can understand the hesitancy on the Rockets to a certain degree. But again, the offense was average last year. Honestly, I'm probably being kind.
It still feels that way sometimes.
A lot of Jalen Green possessions wasted.
Sengun is one of the most inefficient centers in the league.
Yeah, but it's not because of him that they were a bad offense last year. It was because they ran their offense through Jalen Green.
Little both.
He's still efficient now. Inefficient now.
I know, yeah, and their offense has been much better.
Because of Kevin Durant.
They lose games because of the offense, though.
Sengun is the hub of that offense. He has now been the primary decision maker of the offense versus last year. It was Fred VanVleet and Jalen Green. I think Kevin Durant has a lot to do with the offensive improvement. There's no doubt about it. But I think Alperen Sengun has been the hub of the offense, and finally playing through him has been the reason why their offense is so much better this year. I think it just comes down to this. If Houston didn't make this trade, they would be completely irrelevant right now. I think they would have dropped off substantially in the Western Conference hierarchy because it was clear that with every other West team ascending, they were going to get left behind if they didn't add a talent.
Would they not be where they are right now?
Can we be honest? Why? Like the way that we're talking about the Rockets is like we're writing their obituary. They're only 3 games out of second.
No, I feel like they would be where they are right now, like a 6 seed team.
Yeah, but we wouldn't give them they wouldn't have the odds to make a playoff run like they do right now. They'd kind of be the same.
I mean, they would have Dillon Brooks. Their defense would be great still.
How much odds are you giving them right now? I don't think you think they could beat OKC or Denver, and you probably would take the Spurs over them.
OKC and Denver, those are the 2 best teams in the Western Conference right now. I think those are the 2
best teams.
Great series.
Yeah, I think so.
He said, I think Houston and the Spurs, it's close. I think it can go either way.
And then Minnesota or the Rockets.
Minnesota or the Rockets, it can go either way. I thought if they didn't make the KD trade, I think those are 2 definite Spurs and Minnesota series. Okay. The Lakers, I even think they would be in a crapshoot with the Lakers if they didn't have Kevin Durant because of the non-existent consistent scoring they have in the half court from an actual shot creator. I think now the addition of that shot creator with all the athletes that Houston has, I think overwhelms the Lakers because they really get trounced off the court when they don't have the athletes to compete with the other teams. Like Houston would out rebound them. They would defend very well. Like that is a bad matchup for the Lakers. But I think the addition of Kevin Durant has now made it so Houston is in the mix with these teams versus if they didn't add Kevin Durant, it kind of wouldn't feel like they would have a realistic shot at beating any of these teams.
Yeah, I think I was too harsh probably because the question's a little tricky because usually when you say a trade or a team loses a trade, it's usually you shouldn't have got that player. And that's not the case here. Even if the Rockets, quote unquote, lose the trade because they don't win in the playoffs or we don't look at them as the top 2 seeds, doesn't mean it's a losing trade. You know what I mean? Like, you still should have got Kevin Durant. He still makes your team better. He obviously has made the offense better. And I think your point is right, Joel, where if you didn't have Kevin Durant, you're probably a worse team, right? So even if they don't do anything in the playoffs, it's still probably a win-win just because you still are better. Kevin Durant is a piece you needed, especially in the half court. I mean, they went to a 7-game series with the Warriors last year, and that Warriors team was flawed.
Like, it was good process. And the one thing I think Houston probably wishes they could take back is trading away Dillon Brooks. And they probably would have added Jabari Smith Jr. in that trade. Jabari Smith Jr. has been responsible for like over half of their losses.
But what you get to say Dillon Brooks, though.
You're not getting the Dillon Brooks you're getting in Phoenix.
But you're still getting the toughness.
Yeah.
You're getting the loose balls. You're getting the defense.
Defense isn't a problem either.
And he was shooting better with Houston too.
Yeah. Fair.
You know, so he was trending upwards with them.
Shooting is their problem, and their half court offense, especially in the crunch time, is their problem. Like, Kevin Durant helps that, but they didn't fully fix that. It's because of the lack of spacing on the floor.
I think Jabari Smith Jr.'s problem is that he doesn't play to his size, and the shooting is very sporadic. Like, a lot of Houston's losses this year have kind of been, you could boggle it down to just Jabari Smith, like, awful.
Men too, though. Like, sometimes you bottle up KD, you have Amen open, Şengün open. Like, these are guys that just don't provide a shit ton of spacing. You know, this team just lacks the shooting volume or lack the, half court creation sometimes in the fourth to get it done. You know, so that's why it's like, it's tricky. Like, obviously, if I'm Houston, I make that deal. You ask me 10 times, I do it 10 times. It's Kevin Durant. But like, you don't, like, if you got Kevin Durant now. If he retires in 3 years and you end up with 0 playoff wins, it's kind of like, yeah, we make the trade, but we lost it inevitably.
Well, I think the only argument is you go and get a player that impacts it more or impacts it to a place where you could have, and I just don't know if that player was available.
No, I wouldn't change. Like, you don't get a better player than Kevin Durant on the market. It's just, unfortunately, it comes down to you just lost the trade. Like, there's a world where you can make a move. The move makes sense. You just lost it.
Well, can you lose the trade if you're giving away Dillon Brooks and Jalen Green and they don't inevitably work out as pieces that deliver playoff success?
So
to the
is
Suns?
this actually a lose-lose trade?
You understand what I mean? Like, that's why I can't look at that way.
I don't think so, because Phoenix had to get off Kevin Durant.
They didn't have to.
They needed to, yes.
They need to. Yeah.
They 100% did.
If you think I still can't agree with that.
He could not come back next year.
There was no way.
It was just broken, I felt like.
They weren't going to get better from there.
The entire energy around the Suns was just completely negative to that point. It does feel like the Suns probably already won the trade because of how much it revitalized their organization. Sometimes the best seasons as a fan is when you're winning unexpectedly. And that is the season the Suns are having. Like, just being a Suns fan and watching them almost every other night, like, I see how much more invested she's into the team. Like, last year, she hated watching the team. The team played with no heart, no energy, no passion. It was boring. It was lifeless. And, that's one of the things that fans called out with the effort of the star players like Kevin Durant. She liked to joke with me in the offseason that she thinks Kevin Durant was the problem. And then they trade Kevin Durant, then they're a good team this year, So that was just her feeling of the team, but that's from her perspective as a Suns fan. And now watching this team and seeing Colin Gillespie breaking out, Jordan Goodwin, his second stint with the team playing really well and hustling, and then Dillon Brooks like being just
Energizer Bunny.
So amazing for them. Like, bro, Suns fans right now love Dillon Brooks. Like, he is their guy. That
every team loves him until he's gone.
Like, he is their guy that they're just like, man, we love what he's brought to our team. The defense, their top 10 in defensive rating. And any team that he's been to, you can see the metrics and like the percentages of like how often they die for loose balls, draw charges, just like things that you would call hustle stats. They go up exponentially with Dillon Brooks, and they fall off big time when he leaves that team. And the same is said for Houston this year. Like, they have good young players like Amen Thompson that play defense and do that stuff, but they have even fallen off. They have even fallen off without Dylan Brooks' presence. So somebody like that I think he's just somebody that kind of puts a battery pack in how you play every night. And the Suns, that's what they're showcasing now. Like, it feels very reminiscent of the 2013 Suns when, that year their GM was trying to make every trade possible to lose, and that team just ended up winning. And they barely missed the playoffs as the 9th seed, like winning 48 games, and Goran Dragic was an all-NBA player that year. But that was an unexpected great season for the Suns, and this feels like it's trending that way to where they're young, athletic, they play defense, and that's kind of just their identity.